she ever believe me? Will she ever believe? Will she run out of time? Will she run out of time? She trusts me not, such enduring light, deep down inside. I'd like to know what it's like to die, deep down inside. She trusts me not, such enduring light, deep down inside. I'd like to know what it's like to die, deep down Last night we let the liquor talk. I can't remember everything we said, but we said it all. You told me that you wish I was somebody you never met. But baby, something's telling me this ain't over yet. No way it was our last night. Last night I kissed your lips, make you grip the sheets with your fingertips. Last bottle of Jack, we split a fifth. Just talking about life, going sip for sip. Yeah, you know you love to fight, and I say shit I don't mean.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Block Sauce, your weekly web show that serves up the juiciest discussions in the world of Web3 and gaming culture. I'm your host, Arena Team Ambassador Jim Kieran, and today we've got some excellent guests lined up for you. So crack open a Mountain Dew, or if you're like me and you're a modern day gamer, maybe a Ghost, maybe a Bang, who knows. Grab a controller and get ready to get your game on. Let's go. GM, everybody! Welcome back to another episode of The Block Sauce. So, if you notice, we have a different panel today. I'm sorry, what we advertised and what we brought you, a little bait and switch here. We had a last-minute cancellation, unfortunately. I really hope Shay's okay and she'll be able to make it in the next episode. But today, we have Kevin, Matt, and Erica. And if you don't know who Matt is, go back and watch our videos because we have an interview with him. But I'm going to go ahead and give them a chance to introduce themselves right now. How are you guys doing today? And tell us what you're working on. We can start with Kevin. I'll pick somebody.
All right, nice to be back on the show. When I came on and started the video stream, he was like, "Is this the same Kevin we had on a couple weeks ago?" And yes, it is. Got the hair chopped up, cleaned up a little bit. I'm Kevin Okeson. I'm one of the co-founders of Arcade to Earn on Twitter. There. We're a gaming, entertainment, and exposure platform that lets people experience gaming economies in a truly unique way. So we're about ready to launch that. The platform's live, but we've got our full token event later on in March. So just really fun building with that, partnering with a lot of other games and creators in the space. So good to be back here.
How about you, Matt?
Hey everybody, glad to be back for the, I guess, second and a half or first and a half time, right? We had a redo one, so this is at least my second time here. But I am one of the founders of the team behind Mega Weapon, which is a multiplayer shooter, fast-paced Web3 game, playable now, yeah, excited to be here.
All right. I don't know if you can scooch a little bit, but you keep going off screen and we can't see your face sometimes.
Is this good?
You have a lovely face. We want to make sure it's in frame.
It's a balance now.
It is a balancing act. Trust me, I go through it every day. Oh, Erica, how about yourself?
Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm Erica. I do content creation, host of the GG Show, which is something that I do every single Saturday. It's gaming news, a little bit of tech and AI sprinkled in. We do I do actually analytics, Web3 game discovery, and I'm all over the place. I'm in the spaces, listening, trying to soak everything up. It's like we were just talking before we went live, right, about all of the games that are coming in. Kevin's like, "What are you playing?" And I'm like, "This and this and this," and he's like, "Wait, what?" There's just so much going on right now. So much going on. Not to put you on the spot, Kevin, but
no,
but
it's all good.
Oh
So
my
much good
gosh.
stuff coming out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy because even though all this is going on, I'm actually struggling to find news to talk about today because most of it's partnerships or funding rounds. And you guys know this show. We're trying to spice things up. We want it to be a bit more interesting than just talking about every latest partnership and funding round. That's not what we do here. So first up on the chopping block, pun intended, Metalcore's beta is finally coming. I don't know how closely you guys have been following this game. I was there day one since they minted. I've been holding since day one. This is a project that has clearly gone out of their way to both cater to Web 2 and Web 3 gamers. They've been at like TwitchCon and other Web 2 events. They had a regular beta sign-up list. So this is going into beta. So this is no longer holder exclusive. This is your run-of-the-mill, you sign up and you get a chance to go play the game. So I'm really excited to see how many players they can bring in, and I want to see these lobbies get full. But what's your guys' like experience? What like, are you excited for this game? Have you played it before? Where are you at?
Yeah, I can actually go. I played it. So I got a key from their Discord to play last weekend. I was going to play with some friends, but that didn't work out. So I just played by myself, which is fine. I the first time I played it was at 3XP, and I really liked it. I'm not a huge fan of first-person shooters, but I like the mech element of it. And I love the fact that when you are thrown into the game, they throw you into a tutorial and you're like immediately immersed right into the story. And for me, like that checks the boxes. I absolutely love that because like, since I'm not incredible at first-person shooters, then I can go through that first phase of like learning exactly what everything does. Once I got past the tutorial, or you can, fuck around and find out, whatever. But whatever your style is. No, but after the tutorial, then you're able to choose which kind of like clan you want to go along with. And then I was like out in the open world. One thing about it is that because I don't actually have a mech right now, I was basically just like lone guy standing. And so anybody who does have a mech just brutally like took me down in like 2 seconds. And so I was like constantly having to respawn, but that's just part of the game, I guess. I don't know. But
wait, so you're telling me that like a person versus like a war machine isn't going to be a good matchup. So when the machines overtake us someday, like I need to make sure I have a machine of my own, right? Like I can't just have a gun. I got to have a full robot to go get inside, for that time. So yeah, super fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you better start your Iron Man assembly cave right now, Kevin. Get on that.
So that in like 15 years, when I finally learn robotics, I'll have something I can make.
Maybe.
Exactly. Yeah.
I haven't, so as much as I work in Web3 gaming, I have very little time to play Web3 games, right? Games in general. So at 3XP, which was almost a year ago, what was it, June, I guess, last year, I got a chance to play their demo, which was the tutorial, I think. And I really enjoyed it. I hadn't, up at that point, had a lot of chance. I didn't know anything about the project. I didn't know anything about what it was. I just walked up. No one was helping me. They were all busy, and I just jumped into the tutorial myself. I was like, wow, this is really good. This is really fun. I had a great time talking to the team. I work regularly with one of their former team members who's over at OneKin now. And I talk with those guys a lot, and we've had this, I've chatted with the teams before, so had a great working relationship with them. And I would say that just as like one of those, the challenges we face is like first impressions and onboarding are going to be the ultimate challenge, I think, over the next 6 to 12 months. And that was a great execution for a game that has a lot of complex mechanics, right? So I'm excited to see it come out live and just get a chance to play some more.
For those that aren't familiar with the game we're talking about, Metalcore is a persistent world shooter. So think more along the lines and along the vein of like PlanetSide 2, for example. This is where you drop in and the world is constantly going. Like, it's not you drop in, you get 20 kills, reset, next lobby. It doesn't work like that. The entire concept, you're running around the map, you're capturing bases, you're fighting against the other factions. Like Erica mentioned, there's 3 factions, and you're fighting for control of the map. And while you're running around, you can actually gather all these different resources that you can then use to craft your vehicles or different classes or the mechs, airships, stuff like that. It's the first FPS I think we've seen in Web3 that incorporates vehicles into their gameplay, which is phenomenal. We've seen a ton of FPSs. I know people are like, oh, another FPS. No, they're actually going out of their way to make a genuine full-scale gaming experience. It's not just your TDM lobby-based shooter. And even my explanation is kind of watered down. When they say there's a lot of mechanics to it, there is. Like, you got your different class abilities. Each vehicle has different abilities and weapons. Every mech has different abilities and weapons. Like, I jumped in and I had a blast the last time I played. But to Erica's point, the community is sweaty as hell, and they will not forgive you. If you are running around on the ground, just you're a soldier in the trenches and somebody sees you and they're in a mech, you are going to be targeted very quickly, and they are not nice. Oh my God. Just trying to get my first mech took forever because everybody kept killing me and I kept losing my resources. I was so angry. But it is a fun game, and there is some PvE to it as well. They added NPCs and AI, so when you go to take bunkers, if there's no players there, you'll still have to fight like this neutral faction, and all the factions have to fight over it unless they control that base. If they control the base, then obviously the NPCs won't attack them. There's also like automated turrets and stuff like that around the base to defend it. Overall, really great experience. I'm looking forward. Hopefully they're letting holders into the beta as well as the people who they signed up, because I am a holder and I want to play again.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Then. So you can either buy the mech on secondary, or you can collect the pieces in the game as like a regular person to eventually get your mech, or how does that mechanic work?
So from my understanding, the NFT versions of the mechs and the troops, because it's not just your vehicles, the troops and classes have their own as well. They just have like reduced cooldown. So if I don't have the materials, but I own the NFT, I can go in. But obviously they don't want it to be pay to win. So they don't want me not having to craft and always having access to the biggest, baddest mech just because I threw money at the NFT, right? So if I lose that mech, it gets destroyed or whatever, there's like a cooldown involved, and I can't use it again until that cooldown has occurred. So there is a way to kind of bypass the crafting in a sense, from my understanding, but there is a cooldown in place to avoid people only using the biggest, baddest things at all times. So I really like that they did take pay to win into consideration, and they balanced around that. How it will play in practice once we have like an actual massive army all fighting for territory is yet to be seen, and they're probably going to have to continue balancing as they get that data. But during the last play test, I'll tell you right now, like, people were blowing up mechs left and right, and there were people on the ground having to regather materials and recraft, and it did play pretty well. But if you get an entire faction who is fully loaded out, they've all got vehicles, and they just steamroll you and never give you a chance, that has happened. I've seen it. It sucks, but that is unfortunately kind of how these games play out. But if you rally your side and you go and destroy all their vehicles, then it's kind of like a reset. Think of it like Overwatch, where, the round starts and your teams all got their ults. You run in, you blow your ults. Well, guess what happens in the next team fight? Now the other team has all their ults because they saved them. So it's going to be a constant balancing act, but it's definitely something they are working on in terms of, making tweaks and changes based on the data that they get from players. So I think that's what this beta is probably going to lean towards, is trying to gather more data, more player feedback, and kind of see how things roll out. But that's my current understanding.
Yeah, that's really cool. No, I mean, same thing. We knew that Matt was saying, we know some of the people that worked at Metalcore that are now at other projects. So it's something, we at Arcade have been looking at, for a long time, and looking at how the game economy will work and how owning different NFTs can be used and utilized by other people. So it's just always cool to see games progressing. I mean, the more games that are of high quality, introduces people to Web3 gaming and how, the economic side can make stuff so more interesting. So just excited for them to keep launching. So excited.
I saw a lot of Web2 gamers at TwitchCon that saw the game that were really excited for it. Some of them, obviously, once the NFT came to light, they were like, oh, gross, whatever. But most of the players were like, I don't care. They're like, it's a fun game. I want to play it.
My CTO was at GDC last year, and he said I think it was them that had the line like around the whole place, hour-long line to play the game, something like that. It was like crazy.
I'm not sure if it was them. I'm not familiar with GDC. I don't really keep up on that one, but I definitely know there was a line at TwitchCon. So
yeah, I think it must have been the same project. He was just like, wow, he was surprised to see at GDC. Maybe they hadn't mentioned NFTs yet, like you're saying, but
Well, at TwitchCon, they weren't allowed to even advertise. Like, it was something that, players kind of figured out on their own or something like that. But there's a lot of these events, from my understanding and talking with projects, is if you go to a Web2 event, 9 times out of 10, like, you are not allowed to mention NFTs, crypto, anything like that. You can't have it on, like, your marketing billboards or anything that's over by your booth. You just treat it like a normal game. And you know what? I'm actually kind of okay with that, because we should kind of treat these like a normal game outside of our space, right? Like, Web2 gamers, they don't care about NFTs, they don't care about crypto, but once they're given a reason to care, I think they might change their mind.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, we should make a mark in the sand right now saying, okay, right now TwitchCon and these other events, like, don't let you say it. I'm wondering how long it takes to where it's going to be a thing. They're going to want people to say it, because they're like, oh, you're an economic game that has all this cool stuff, plus like this whole game economy. Like, we want you to come talk about it. So I just love when stuff changes from a stigma to like a value prop. And I think like just so many people, especially like adult gamers, are going to be like, well, now there's actually like a reason to play this game, and not because they're going to like make a fortune out of it, but it's like the bragging rights. Just like you said, like when you go annihilate like a whole other group of mechs, I mean, or vehicles or whatever, like, yeah, that's fun. But what if that also meant that like you gained something from it? And I don't know. I just think it's just going to be a whole new level of gaming that's going to be exciting for people, just like fantasy sports and stuff. So like, we should really just like kind of take a mark at like, what's the first major Web2 gaming conference that like doesn't even tell you not to talk about it. They actually have a whole section called like economic gaming or something like that. It's gonna be funny when it happens. It's gonna happen. It's just at which conference first does it.
Yeah. Well, before we move on to the next topic, over to the viewer comments. We got Mr. Console in the viewers. Love you, Mr. Console. Graslow, Rod, Fruity Loops over here proposing to Erica. Fruity Loops, are you cheating on Shay? Like, what's going on here? They said if you move to Dubai, they're gonna wife you. Which, I mean, I'm pretty sure they said that was Shay already. So I mean, Fruity Loops, you gotta pick one, man.
Well, I think in Dubai you can have like 40 wives. I think that's the caveat there. You can have as
maybe we'll both be the wife. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm technically Shay's. I don't know who was the last minute ad. I don't know if I'm Shay's replacement or if Erica was Shay's replacement. But I mean, if I'm replacing Shay, I mean, where's my offer? You got to make us all feel special.
Well, I don't think that's approved over in Dubai. So little red flag there.
Draw another line in the sand, Kevin. There we go. Now we got 2. When is it going to happen?
In other news, we also have Team Liquid, who is relaunching their fan loyalty program on Sui. So I am not familiar with Sui. I'm not going to pretend to be super knowledgeable over here, but I do love esports teams, and I do love seeing them come over to Web3. So to me, this is kind of a good thing. I say kind of because it's Team Liquid. I'm not a Liquid fan. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, Team Liquid. Fnatic for life. Or C9. Like I said before, I'll accept C9. So when somebody signs Fnatic or C9, let me know. I will be super hyped. But this is still a good thing, and especially as esports are kind of gaining traction over here. They are not the only esports team that has come over here. We also have BattleTech that recently launched, and they're hinting at a big, I believe it was South Asia. It's either South Asia, South America. I can't remember. SA, whichever SA is. they are going to apparently sign an esports team from there that they haven't fully disclosed. So we're seeing more and more people move here. It's just a matter of time. As the great Sam Stefina says, Web3 gaming is inevitable.
Right. That reminder every day. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, I don't know if it's going to change everything and bring a bunch of Web2 gamers in. We haven't really seen that in the past. I mean, we've had big esports teams come in, and I don't know about the metrics, like those haven't been released. Maybe there's a reason for that, or maybe they can't measure it. I'm not 100% sure. Will it bring Web2 gamers in? I don't know, maybe. But I mean, at the same time, like, I'm not trying to like exclude people, be like, nah, like whatever, get out. Like, who are you? I'm not Jin Kieran. Like, no, you're not my favorite team. Like, what? Screw you.
It's a good thing. I just think they're not my favorite team.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, I think the more people that do come in, as long as they're in it for the right reasons, right? Not just because like, oh, we're getting a deal with BattleTech and it's worth so much, and so that's the only reason why we're coming in. Like, as long as it's like a genuine, then I'm for it. And hopefully, if they're not educated on Web3, like maybe that's something that some of us OGs who have been here for a while, we can help to bridge them in and educate them and have them ask questions. Like, I love the education aspect of the space. And so, if people ask me questions, I'm like, yeah, like, what do you want to know? Let me school you a little bit and really get you onboarded. So yeah.
Okay, real quick, we got comments from the viewers. If somebody has their phone vibrating on the table, they can hear it, and they said it sounds like a fart.
Probably mine.
What if it was?
That is too
What if it's
funny.
not a phone? Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Oh, we lost Matt while he fixes his gas problem.
Well, and it just so happens the community, in our house where we border like a community area, and it just so happens that the landscaping crew is landscaping the whole community area next to us. So I'm actually going to do a little motion here. I'm actually going to go to a quieter place in the house.
Get a tour of the house. Nice.
I love your decorations.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm actually going to go into my son's room, and this is a quiet area. So we'll get his Sonic poster in the background. That's his favorite movie right now, is the different Sonic stuff. So the new Knuckles game. I think there's a new Knuckles game coming out that's going to be pretty cool. So we're big into the movie too. Yeah, we watch those quite a bit. But yeah, going back to the deals, I think the whole fan engagement thing is really cool in Web3. Like tech, you really allows like all the different tracking and stacking and things like that can be really cool. So yeah, I mean, we know the folks that are at Owned and everything doing BattleTech, and yeah, I mean, I think it's just when people see the value of the tech behind it, they just won't care about like really what the tech is. We don't care about like what software or what like component like a PlayStation uses. Like, we just play the PlayStation. So I'm just really looking forward to when people just understand that, like, guys, there is this new way to do gaming. Just get over it. Like, it's just get over it. Like, just enjoy the fact that now you can like take people's money and take your friend's stuff and resell it back to them when you steal it from them, through the game. And yeah, I think it's just gonna be really cool. And yeah, sometimes people might come into it for the wrong reason. And like Erica said, like, I don't like it if that's the only reason they're coming in. But I think what we're doing in Web3 gaming and just Web3 overall, like, I'm not even like a native Web3 person. Like, it took people kind of years to wear me down on why it was necessary, relevant. I'm a traditional finance guy. But once like I just got in and really started to explore it myself and understand it, it's like if you were running a business and you finally understood like how the internet could like bring you more sales and more connectivity. It's just that next evolution. So yeah, let's bring people over, but yeah, it's a melt up. I feel like it's like that thing where, if you're telling 5 people, I'm telling 5 people, someone else is telling 5 people, like that's kind of how you do it. And then it just, then those people are all kind of telling their friends and stuff. So I think it's like a frog in water type thing. Like if you throw the frog in the boiling water, they're popping out like right away. But if you throw that frog in lukewarm water or room temp water and slowly turn the heat on, like all of a sudden they're cooking and they don't even know it. And I think that's what a lot of these cool activations with like Web2 brands and companies are doing, is it's like slowly melting people into, our world. And then we've got them. And then they're ours and they never leave. And we make them part of our family. And, it just gets to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But in that same vein, though, we gotta do it correctly, because there's a lot of people they're listening to the wrong people. So we're seeing gamers come over, try some of these games, but because they listen to more of the degen flipper type of people, the gameplay does not appeal to a genuine gamer. And this is something I think it was I either mentioned it in Graslow's space this week or on Stash's show. Like, I have a background in QA. I have done so much testing in Web 2. I'm under an NDA for some big studios right now. And I still have to spend hundreds of dollars to get into these games to get my feedback. Like, why is that a thing? I'm not expecting special treatment or anything, but like when I do this as an actual like side gig in Web 2, and now you're telling me, I have to spend hundreds, if not sometimes thousands, to get into some of these games. Which actual players are you listening to? Are you listening to the gamer? Or are you listening to the one that wants a return on the investment that they spent to get into that game to give you the feedback in the first place? Yep. That's where we got to be careful.
It's a tricky sitch. It's a tricky situation for sure.
You have to cater to both. You do have to cater to both. So you got to balance.
And I think that's where funding, I mean, probably on the Web 2 side that you're working in, those studios, like you said, like they're not also balancing just how to stay afloat and how to get the next dollar in the door. They have that established. And I think that's why, like, I know we don't talk about just like funding rounds and stuff like that, but like, that's why I think those things are really cool when they do come up, when it's like a big actual funding round and you can get capital in. And as we have games like Metalcore and stuff deliver, then it's going to be so much easier for Web3 gaming studios to go to VCs and get capital. And hopefully we see it where, the NFT sales, while still important, can be like later in the cycle, not at the very beginning. They can get, venture capital to fund operations and startup and that kind of stuff. And then the NFT sales are kind of like in the traditional world, like your console game sales or your download. That's kind of more what the NFT becomes, not necessarily what they need to just get started. And I think as, even probably some of the bigger game studios you're working with, they might start to see, well, wait a second, like if we added a financial component to our game and our game's already awesome, like this might bring in a whole new group of gamers or just make people want to play more because it just gets more exciting. So yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool how the space is evolving in the capital structure side in terms of, how you bring money into what stage of your development you're doing it.
I will say, I'm under NDA, so I can't say too much, but I will say one of the studios that I've worked with on a certain franchise has their toes in Web3. And I haven't gotten to test that game, unfortunately, but it's happening. It is happening slowly but surely. You are correct. But I'm curious to we're going a little off the rails, obviously, with the topic. But I want to know, Matt, because you guys are building a game. Have you seen any type of like esports interest? Like, have you had any teams approach you, communities, guilds, anything like that, to try and like spin things up?
Yeah, so it was pretty public, but back in, I guess, 22 at the end. I don't remember exactly when, but we had an event. We sponsored an event for ETH Porto, where, which team was it? We sponsored the tournament and they ended up playing Mega Weapon live on stage. And then they reached out to us separately and they were looking to collaborate, looking to do sponsorship deals. They were, this is, I think in places like maybe South America, or this is in Portugal, a team based in there, they're more open to this to this industry. And, you know, the fact that they see games, they want to break in. They had like a whole like wing dedicated to Web3 and stuff like that. So we've definitely had interest there. Ultimately, at the time, like sponsoring an esports tournament, an esports team wasn't like in the budget. But I think this is going to be a way to get on the map for a lot of people as an entry point. If you see, you see Avalanche with like all the jerseys everywhere, doing sponsorships and all this kind of stuff. And, they're sort of leaning into this competitive nature. And for a game like ours, these guys, we also did the, what's it called? The 3XP event where there was a team there, Xborg, right? Xborg was I know very little to nothing about esports, professional, games and stuff like that. But they played our game on stage and they really enjoyed it. And I think like it's one of those things where instead of showing showing the value is one thing, but if you're showing the game as being as good or as nearly as fun for like these esports teams to enjoy, that's like your proof. That's like your flashpoint. We're saying, oh, like my guy that I watch, my hero that I watch on Twitch is playing this game and having a good time. And like I overlooked it because it wasn't AAA graphics, or I overlooked it because it had a crypto in the word, and like, oh, but it still plays like a Dota or like a league, stuff like that, and it's still fun and it's still competitive and like it works. I think that's going to be very interesting. So we've had tons of interest in collaborations with different guilds and teams, things like that. But yeah, we've had a couple great experiences with professional esports teams. These 17-year-old, like, oh my God, it was amazing. I sat up on the stage with those guys and played on the team with them. And these kids, they're turning their keyboard sideways, configuring all the commands. Unbelievable. Almost better at my game than me within 5 minutes. So they're amazing. Really, it's also really validating to like put your product in front of the best in the industry and the most, critical, right? And have them. So it's a great testing ground as well. So I've also done an event with my friend Matt Taylor here, who runs like a big New York City blockchain organization. He had an event. He runs like esports, an esports club at his local college, and all these kids came and played, and it was like 200 of them. It was I forget what the game was they were playing, but then we also had an aside event where they played our game. We had like 100 kids come and play the game, and they really enjoyed it, gave me positive feedback. So I think it's just getting your product like on the same playing field as these other games. And like, that's really these kids, they're 17-year-old, they don't care about money yet, thank God. They don't care about 100xing their coins. They care about having fun. Yeah. And, not to say like, oh, that's when you get them, like Philip Morris, like marketing to 12-year-olds or whatever, but like, it's that same kind of feeling. It's like the next generation is, if they're going to be comfortable with it, they just got to start playing these games now. And if like we can get in front of there and show the quality is there, I think it moves forward.
So this is actually a good time for me to mention how I got into Web3. So I'm one of the ones that originally was like, ooh, magical internet funny money, but I'm on a team called Regiment. For those not aware of it, it's a stream team over on Twitch and Kick. They're the largest military stream team. They're full of veterans. And we were invited to play in a tournament from Luminosity. For those not familiar with them, they're working with EV, and that happened to be the tournament. So I joined and I played the game, and then they were like, oh, we have a mint coming up. And that's where I was like, well, what's a mint? And down the rabbit hole we go, and now I'm hosting a Web3 show.
Got him.
Got me.
Got him with the mint.
Got me. So I think that it's not always going to translate this way, just because I do have a tech background. So I had a bit more of an understanding going into this. But I think that there is definitely some leverage to be had there with getting reputable names, because if Luminosity wasn't involved and my team wasn't invited to this official tournament, I don't think I would be here today. Things could have gone entirely differently. But the fact that Luminosity was tied to it, they invited an official, esports org. We showed up, boom, captured some of us. I say some of us because I'm not the only one that started learning what mints were and stuff. Some of the other guys from my team were like, wait, what's going on here? So did you have anything you wanted to add to this, Erica? I'm not sure how familiar you are with esports and that stuff. I do know you're a gamer, so probably got a general idea.
Yeah, no, I'm not too familiar with esports. Actually, the first time that I was ever at a live esports competition was at 3XP. But then like I was like, this is fucking awesome. Can I swear on here? Is that okay? I was like, this is awesome. And like the shoutcasters and the fact that like a lot of us in like the Web3 community were actually the shoutcasters and the production behind it. I was like, if any of this ever comes to Austin, I will definitely go because I think that it is actually really fun. I'm not one of those, 17-year-old sweaty gamers, but I still like to participate in it. And so I do like to see new people come in. And yeah, that's interesting how you got in. You were like, oh, what's a mint? And then yeah, so it's really crazy to see like how we all get in. I was going to say something on it, but I lost track of it, so that's fine.
Well, that is all right. We can go ahead and jump into the next topic. We got about 15 minutes left. I'm going to definitely try to get through these quick. Play to airdrop campaigns, are they sustainable? I'm just going to flat out say no, but I'm going to let Erica go first.
Yeah, I think that they can be, but it depends. I'm going to take Pixels, for example, right? They've been around for a while. Some people don't realize how long they've been around, but they've been building for a long ass time with like pretty much like zero marketing. And I have actually played for a while. I've had my land for a couple of years now, I think, right after it minted. And so I've held it for a long time. So my point with them is that the airdrop I got, and I didn't even really play that much, you guys. I think I got 2,500 pixels, which I believe now it's at about like 50 cents or so. And so for me, like, that's like, oh, wow, like that's a really nice little perk of just playing for a little bit. And so I'm like, well, how much money did they dish out total? It had to be a buttload, like, oh my gosh. So is it sustainable for all games? I don't think so. But if you have something like Pixels where they have the daily active users, for them, maybe it is. And maybe they have some additional funding from Ronin. I'm not really sure what goes on behind the scenes. But for them, yes. For everybody, no. And I think that it is going to bring some people into your game, but is it going to bring them in for the long term? Or are they just going to play it to get the airdrop and then get the airdrop and then leave? And then what are you left with? Like, empty pockets where you had a bunch of players. So it can bring people in for the wrong reasons. I don't want to think that, that the game would fail and it just takes a lot of liquidity out of maybe some runway that they would have had. Are they going to be scrambling a year down the road and be like, oh shit, now we only have 3 months of runway, but if we didn't do the airdrop, then we would have had a year of runway and those players didn't stick around anyway. So it is a balancing act. I'm curious what everybody else thinks, but for me, I'm a little bit on the fence. Mostly no. But I do like to get airdrops. So,
I feel like you nailed it on the head, because that's my concern. Is it's a lot of money going out, but how much is it bringing in? What is the ROI for these airdrops? Are you genuinely bringing in spenders? Are you bringing in people only that want to extract? So whenever I see a play to airdrop, it comes off across to me. Again, I'm approaching this as a normal gamer. It comes off to me as, we have to pay you to play our game. Otherwise, why wouldn't I just see a marketing campaign or some gameplay trailer and just jump in to have fun? Why is the airdrop the main draw? But if it does pull me in and then I have fun and I'm like, dang, this is really cool, and I start spending, then there is a conversion to be had there. So I think you were 100% right. It's a balancing act, but it's not going to work for everybody. Kevin, Matt, did you guys have anything to add to this, or did she pretty much nail it? I feel like she nailed it.
So I think about this every single day, because we have a game. Everyone always needs more players. We have a budget, and we have to target how we're going to spend our resources, exactly like everyone's saying. So ultimately, you're going to spend money to get players some way or the other, right? You're going to do marketing. You're going to do influencer campaigns, are going to do airdrops, whatever it is. And I think, there's no perfect answer. Ultimately, if you have a good game, you just need to get it in front of people. Then it can be a very good tactic. And it's not like, for example, we've recently partnered with people to run several quest campaigns, which to me, I was like, who are these questers? They're just going to grind in and go play and like leave because they're going to get like a free, we did like whitelist spots for upcoming mins, things like that. So not an airdrop, it's more like an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Which is like, there's people that do this all day long. And like, I'm not one of these people. So to me, it sounded like, whatever, but it was really successful. And in the sense that we got like hundreds and hundreds of new signups for the games. And like, yeah, we got maybe for every 100 signups we might get 10 players, more players that play regularly. But then again, like if these games aren't that we're demoing people, like there's no way to make money on it right now. And they're not like AAA fully polished games right now. So it's like, why would someone come and play your game? You know what I mean? So that's the other thing you have to face as well. Like we are proud of the fact that like, and we're honest the fact that we have, I don't know, let's say 30 to 50 active players of our game. And people make up all these numbers with their games. Like, I got 10,000 monthly. And it's nonsense. And we have 30 to 50 plus players that play regularly, and they don't get anything out of it. They don't get rewards. They don't get airdrops. They don't get things. And we can turn to those people for testing and playing. And to us, that makes us feel good that we have people that like the game and aren't there for any reason besides. I mean, they may have skin in the game otherwise, but they still like playing. So play to airdrop, whatever you want to call it, like play for rewards. I think when you talk about like protocol sponsorships as well, like you've got, your Ronins that are like, hey, we're matching like dollar for dollar every airdrop you do. Like those are great ways to partner and, the ecosystems to grow their base as well. So, I think it's worth doing probably something like that one time to give it a shot, but not like, you got to time it, right? You got to time it so that like, if your game's got to be good, otherwise they're not coming back. So that's the thing.
Got to convert them to spenders.
Exactly.
Yeah. I kind of view the play to airdrop people as really like your marketing team, So again, like how we kind of said, like this space is going to melt up. It's not going to be like all of a sudden one day everybody's like, oh, let's go do all these, and it's going to just be like all of a sudden we've got 1 billion new people. It's going to be people telling their friends, getting other people to join. And I really view like the play to airdrop and kind of all that stuff is, like you said, it's just a way that you're spending in it. And so you just want to pick the right people, you want to pick people that, you want to target people, hopefully, that are going to, they're going to play it and maybe they got the airdrop and they're going to go share it with a couple of their friends, and those people are going to share it with a couple of their friends. So yeah, if done right, I definitely think it can work. And you just have to know that there are going to be some people that just grind it to get it, and they're going to ditch your game as soon as they're done. But hopefully by them doing it, it adds, matchmaking, adds more people to lobbies so that the people that are coming for different reasons. So yeah, I mean, just view it as compensation to your team almost. It's just that in our space, like we get to say, hey, these 1,000 people are on our marketing team for the next, next 2 months. And so I think if you can coordinate it with also, like social media interactions, posting the gameplay, different contests like that, I think they can definitely work. And, sustainable to do them all the time, no, but as user acquisition, if done right, I think can be really cool.
I think there were some great points, but again, we got 10 minutes, so we're going to jump into the next one real quick. Yuga Labs acquisitions. This is hype or more. So I'm going to give my quick little rundown of my opinions, because everybody knows I love to rag on Yuga. So my big red flag is they went and bought out all these studios and then turned around and said, by the way, guys, Other Side isn't going to be an MMORPG. We're just going to make a UGC game. And I'm like, wait a minute. What? Like you're going to try to compete with Fortnite? Really? You think you could do that? But the problem that I see here is the acquisition side. It feels like they're spreading too thin. They're buying out a lot of stuff. They're promoting a lot of stuff. But where are the actual products? They're focusing on quick, really like small, brief windows of cash inflow, and then they're on to the next one, and on to the next one. I'm starting to feel like they're kind of turning into the Web3 equivalent of Embracer Group, and some of these studios aren't going to make it under their umbrella. That's just kind of where I'm looking at it from. I could be wrong, and I hope they prove me wrong, but what's your guys' thoughts? And if you're not familiar with Embracer Group, they're a company that bought out a lot of Web2 studios, and they've been shutting off and firing a lot of them. So, yeah, spread too thin, simply.
So...
Yeah, I'll go first real quick, and then I'll keep it short. But Yeah, I mean, in the merger and acquisition space, we've at Arcade and ACS, we've helped a couple different games go through that. We helped Seed and Network purchase Rocket Monsters, and it can be done right. You know what I mean? Like if the team on if the team on one side has a lot of skill or capital at doing something, and the individual game just couldn't get there themselves, I think it can be a really promising opportunity. But like you said, if you're doing it just to add little nuggets of value that you're just trying to like kind of get attention, and you don't really have like a really specific integration for them, I think it can be challenging. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but I definitely see a lot of M&A happening in this space because there's a lot of cool ideas and unpolished games, but really cool game loops, really cool lore, and they really just need a partner that has like that capital, that network, so that you don't waste so much time trying to find the right partner, the right developer, the right publisher. You can kind of just plug in some IP, to a bigger ecosystem. So hopefully that's what will happen here. The two parts will kind of match made up, but yeah, truth to be seen in the future here.
I don't know enough about the whys. I mean, I'm not an experienced, M&A guy, right? But there is so much money behind Yuga Labs, and that means there's so much TradFi like thought and business processes, and they don't even have the original founder anymore. Like, these are all strategic things for some reason. I haven't read the notes as to why, right? But I imagine, they're acquiring massive user bases and funneling them into this big, like, you've got this mass, you got the 10,000 holders here and all these people, and it's like, okay, we've got this mass user base, all this IP, and billions of dollars, right? I don't know how much money they raised, but there was like 70 employees at that time. They raised like billions, whatever it was, $1 billion valuation. Like, if you have smart people and enough money, you can just build. You can make a game, right? You can do whatever. Like, it's weird in Web3 to see acquisitions and mergers because you're like, well, are the assets being merged? Like, are they going to sunset like a token? Like, how does this all work? It's kind of very confusing. I don't know what their end game is, but I don't know. The only positive thing I take out of it is that more money continues to pump into the space at massive amounts, and whether that's what they do with it, I don't know. But like, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. It's one of those things. It's like it's either going to fail tremendously or going to be like the most important thing that's ever happened to Web3. I don't know.
Like I said, I want them to prove me wrong. I would love to be wrong for once, but it is. If you'll notice, a lot of the creators that are criticizing these projects rarely tend to be wrong. And I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about people like Jonah, Bryson.
Before, right? We've been here long enough to see what happens. So
yeah, we'll see. What's your thoughts, Erica?
Okay, so I'm just going to speak on the other side land and what they're deciding to do with the game. So I am actually pretty disappointed. I am one of those suckers who minted the land. Worst mint of my fucking life, by the way. Worst mint of my life. And then you have Illuvium land sale, which went flawlessly, right? So I don't know who the hell was in charge of that. But okay, anyway, I digress. I am very disappointed because I don't even know how long it was since I've minted. It's just been sitting in my wallet. Like, hopefully someday I get to do something cool with this, or just, are you going to completely crush my dreams? Well, yeah, they are actually, because I thought that it was going to be this like kick-ass RPG. People are going to use their quotas. Like, I've got this land and I'm going to be able to like mine and create, and it's going to have, it's going to be like a RTS RPG, I just had like big dreams and hopes for this. And I thought the whole time that they were actually building something. It doesn't sound like they've done shit with it, to be honest with you, besides a trailer that then they had to like re-release. Okay, actually, what we do have in 4K, here you go. But now that it's going to be a UGC, I'm like, I don't want to create my own content for this. Like, I want to be able to farm the land I bought and craft things and sell it on a market and get some ApeCoin and, do whatever, go through the RPG. But I guess it is what it is now. At least they have kind of a plan in action. So we'll have to see how exactly that goes. So far, I'm not impressed.
I'm definitely not going to sit here and pretend to be super business savvy, but I think you have a better chance of taking on World of Warcraft than you do Fortnite or Roblox. I'm just saying. You're talking like hundreds of thousands of players versus millions of players. And the output that Epic gives for their creators, for you to compete with that on the same scale is going to require a ton of money, which Yuga has. But that's going to be money out. How are they going to bring money in? More mints? I don't know. After all this news, I can't see too many people in the Yuga ecosystem that were excited about the recent news. And I feel like any future mints might not be met with the same success. Might. Again, prove me wrong. Please, Yuga. I would love to eat crow on this, but I definitely won't be playing a UGC game because I am tired of UGC games. Except Shrapnel, I'm going to be building like hell in there because FPS – I'm sorry. I love FPS. You tell me there's UGC. Like I used to do UGC in StarCraft. So I don't hate UGC. I just hate how many we have now.
Yeah. Well, if I'm gonna play a Web3 UGC, I'm gonna play Nifty Island. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe I'm thinking that maybe they'll start to combine some of these game types. Like maybe the land actually will be something that you have to create in the new game they're building or something like that. So yeah, I'm just hoping that they do a different take on it where there's this crafting and building side with your kind of normal player side and kind of mixing that together. Kind of adding a whole creator economy within the game itself, using like the assets and stuff like that. But again, it's been a couple of years and yet to see if they can put something like that together, but maybe that's why they bought this other studio, because that studio had some great ideas and how to build something. And they're just like, oh yeah, we'll just use that. So yeah, I hope they're wrong too. But
just don't give me Dookie Dash 2. That's all I'm asking. Don't give me Dookie Dash 2.
Well, we're just going to skip to Dookie Dash 5 and you're just going to be like, oh wait, there were 4 things we missed. And yeah, this is what we came up with for the 5th edition.
All right. I know you guys got a hard stop. So did anybody want to throw any final comments in before we wrap things up?
I'd just like to say, be at ETH Denver next week. We'll be demoing Mega Weapon at the Blockchain Arcade there. So if anyone's attending or anyone else on there, please come by, say hi. And it's been great having us on again.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, that's going to be a wrap.
Yeah, Arcade, our platform's live. Just real quick, Arcade, our platform's live. You can participate in different community events to get some of the X Arcade token to start, participating on the platform. But then we have TGE coming up March 19th that will allow everybody to participate on our platform. So just really hyped about that and really cool all the games we're partnering with on that. So really excited.
And just to make sure the promo is fair, don't forget Erica's show on Saturdays. So make sure you check her out this Saturday, get a little bit more insight into whatever she's cooking. But that's going to be a wrap for us, folks. This was a great episode of The Block Sauce, but we're now going to come to a close. Of course, before we say farewell, thank you to all of our panelists that took time out of their day to join us today. Hopefully I don't make you too late for your meetings. But we also couldn't have done it without all of our amazing viewers and supporters. You're guys, like you guys showing up, commenting, occasionally joining the panel. I love it. It's because of you guys that we do this week after week. Remember, if you got something you want us to tackle, talk about, let us know. Drop us a follow on socials. Maybe we'll bring it up. Your voice has an impact here as well. That's going to be it for us today, though, Sauce enthusiasts. Join us next time for another thrilling episode of The Block Sauce, where we'll keep the gaming flame alive and the discussion sizzling. Stay saucy and keep gaming in the exciting realm of Web3. Have a good one.